Welcome all. Thank you for the great turnout today. We've got a full crew on the lines. Today is August 13th, and this is Mastermind call number 37, I believe. So thank you all for being on time, for calling in. Looks like my one partner, Chad, is off in the wilderness today, clearing trails for some nonprofit organizations. So don't ask us any difficult questions today, but I think between Tim and I, we can pretty much handle most of the questions you have. If Chad does not make it, he'll be back next week. I wanted to start off today, guys, we always start off with company news, and then we're going to throw it open for questions. And by the way, if we see one person in the question queue already. If you know you are going to have a question, or if you know you're going to want to make a comment, please hit *6 and then hit 1, and we'll get you in the line for the questions. Right now we do have one person, area code 718, who's in line. Some company news, guys. I think most of you, when I had the initial conversation with you, I shared with you Probate is just the first, and we felt like it was the best place to start because it's very low-hanging fruit. We do have other lead sources up our sleeve, and the second one we've identified is divorce leads. And very honestly, we've been slowly working on building a back end for our divorce leads with the coaching and the training comparable to what we have for probate. It's been a slow process because we've been devoting most of our time to the probate end of things, and we continue to get requests from you, a number of our clients, for the divorce leads. So I believe we're going to go ahead and start offering them very soon, like within the next few weeks. Anyone who is interested, I just want you to know going in that we do not have the scripts, the dialogue, and the coaching built for it yet, but I think we would rather supply you with the leads. We have a number of agents that are experienced in handling divorce deals, and one of the things we've struggled with is, do you call the two divorcing couple, the two people, or do you call the attorneys? And we seem to be getting the opinion that you have to do both. So that's the conclusion thus far. But anyone who thinks that they are interested in receiving divorce leads soon, before we have all the coaching and the training element built in, and you just want to take them and run with them, if you would send me an email to jim@alltheleads.com. We believe that we are going to be able to get them for most areas, but if you have an interest in doing divorce leads soon, send an email, jim@alltheleads.com, and we will verify if your area is available. We'll put together some pricing, and we're going to continue to build the back end of the site. It just isn't completed yet, and hopefully you guys can help us do that with your real-life experiences. That's what I wanted to share. Tim, I know you had some news also.
Yeah, well, we've also been listening to the feedback that we get from our folks as well, and as our subscriber base grows, and thank you for doing that and appreciate you being on the call. But as it grows, we reach out and ask questions pretty frequently because we're all about trying to make this as just really good as it can possibly be for everybody, and we're not interested in just hustling leads out the door. We want to try to build successes, and that's what we always look for. So one of the things that we have heard over and over again from multiple people is, if you could just do all this for me. And of course, in the beginning, that was kind of we'd chuckle a little bit and say, what do you want us to do? Go out and take the listings and make the sales as well. Well, the reality is what people do seem to want us to do, if it's possible to do, is just simply make their phone ring by inbound customers who are ready to go and want to have some conversation about what they're doing. So we have undertaken to figure out how to do that. As you know, we do mailings, direct mail, U.S. Postal Service mailing, and we have just added on as a test for a client or two where we're actually doing the outbound dial for you as well, so that we take your list and outbound dial a recorded message to your personal representatives. And we're going to continue to expand that program to the point of ultimately even taking the inbound calls and doing all of it and basically handing handing off to you simply a live listing or a live sale customer. So until we do that, one of the things that we're looking at now is adding the ability to, in fact, do that voice broadcast for you, and we do that obviously ourselves for our own marketing. So same thing, if you're interested in having us, take a look at doing that for you, and basically not only furnishing you with the leads, doing the direct mail, but also doing the dialing for dollars piece, we'll undertake to do that for you as well. We just kind of want to get a sample of what the market size might be for that as well. And once we have that in our hands, we'll come back with some pricing and kind of let you know what we're going to do with that as well. So we're continuing to grow, and we appreciate your business. That's just letting you know where we're going. That's about it.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I think you guys, hopefully you guys are getting that we really want this to work for every customer, and while that may not be realistic, it's always going to be our goal. Fortunately, we're getting, and I'm sharing them with you, we're getting 2 or 3 great testimonials every week. If Robbie McCartney in Coastal Virginia is on the line, Robbie, hit *6 and 1. The Middlemans, if any of you are on the line, hit *6 and 1. We've gotten some really good, and I think I won't bore you guys with the details, but a brand new client basically in his first week has about over $1 million in listing appointments set, and he's just starting to make his phone calls. So we love seeing stuff like that, and we've just been brainstorming how can we make sure that happens for all of our clients. The only way we can think of that we can guarantee that, or virtually guarantee it, is to do it for you, and that's kind of the direction we're moving in. So to follow up on what Tim said, if you're interested in either of those programs, give us an email and let us know. All right, well, good. We have 2 questions in the queue. And again, our coach, Chad, is off in the wilderness of West Virginia this week. So Tim and I will do the best to answer the scripts, the dialogues, the role play. He's the expert at that, but we'll do our best to answer your questions. We have actually 3 in the queue now. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up for questions.
Hello?
Our first questioner, you're up, area code 718.
All right, so you asked for the middleman. So we have one middleman, that's me, Jeffrey, and we have Hock Bin. We're here in beautiful Forest Hills, high atop the 2nd floor. Not necessarily pursuant to the list, but, I shared with Jim that Ann, my wife, and I went. We had an appointment yesterday with an individual that basically does A to Z with as far as estate sales. And during the conversation, we spent probably well over an hour and a half with her. She decided to share that she has a difficult individual that's not. I don't know if she's handling the estate, but she is the surviving. They have 2 surviving sisters. Their mother passed away, and there's a distinct possibility that they're going to be selling the apartment. This woman's going to be handling the contents, and there's another apartment, and then there's also the distinct possibility of them buying a house. And this is all related to being involved in this estate process. It does work. The question that I have is, how do you attack the list? And when someone says, how did you get my number? I don't want to fump around. So what's the best reply to that?
Tim, you want to handle that, or do you want me to?
I'll do that. I mean, best approach is telling the truth, which is that you make it a point and go out of your way to secure the listing of probates in the courts, because know that people who are having properties in probate often have challenges in moving them, and your job is to help people sell houses, and so you try to do as much as you can to find out people who could possibly be the best objects of your work. And you don't have to apologize for how you got them. You're getting them legally, fairly, ethically, and honestly. You're just doing marketing research.
Yeah, and if you want to take full credit for it, Jeffrey, it's a matter of public record. So I go through the laborious process of getting all the records, which is a phone call to us. You don't have to lie, but And that's why most agents don't do it, because the data is not easy to get. And again, in the seller's mind, you're probably, Jeff. Are you finding most of the time you're the only agent who's contacting them? They probably hear from investors.
Well, I don't think so. We I don't want to say we're pretty savvy, but we look at our MLS on a daily basis, and I see that there's some other agents out there in Queens that are getting these estate listings.
Sure.
So it could be people that we're sharing this with. I think with us, because there are so many people to call, we've now we're going to share this list with the three of us are going to make calls, because it's too much for one individual to make all these calls. And I'm not the one to wait for an inbound call, because it hasn't happened. So I'm very proactive, and I'd rather be on the phone and make these calls, not to burn the list, but to attack this list, because right behind it in a couple of weeks there's another list.
Sure.
So following the process of sending out letter 1 and then calling behind it, and sending out letter 2 and calling behind it, it's kind of expedient that we do this to the best of our abilities, and that means that all three of us need to make the call. There's not one designated person. I've been making the calls mostly, but we also have other business that we're working with, and this is not the only thing that we do.
Sure.
So it's just getting a system down, and kind of realizing what's the best methods. The scripts are a little cumbersome, but as I was talking with Hock before, I think we just kind of have to get a gist of what the script is about and present that.
Absolutely. Make it your own. Customize it. Make it part of your own personality. A real good short answer to the seller saying, how'd you get my information? Say, well, I promise you, Mr. Seller, I'll be just as aggressive at finding a buyer as I was in locating you.
All right, I like that.
That's a nice short. Because it does set you apart. Just the fact that you're able to contact them sets you apart from the other 20,000 agents of the New York board, I'm sure. Because if anybody's contacting them, it sure is not many. You're one of a few in most cases. So, and Jeff, you're brand new, so congratulations on what a great name for a realtor, by the way, Middleman. I'm sure you've heard that before, right?
I think I've heard that maybe once or twice.
Once or twice.
Well, I use that. I use that as much as I can, because it's certainly an icebreaker.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Jeffrey, for your kind words and your comments. Congratulations on your success. One thing you reminded me of is we're getting more of these peripheral stories where, I went out for we had a girl tell us I wasn't going to go for the property estate sale. It was like a garage sale. I went out there, and in the process of going out to see what was going on, I met like 13 of the neighbors and listed 3 houses. That's a great add-on story. And we had a girl a couple weeks ago, one of our agents say, I called and there was no probate in that estate, but then about a week later, the woman called me back and said, you were so nice. My mom died. Can you handle my probate? So there's no bad opportunity to brand yourself and let people know that this is what you do. Any conversation, regardless of whether it's the particular one that you thought you were looking for, it can always result in another deal down the road. So great job with the estate company, and I would imagine sometimes that's going to be the first person they reach out to if there's a lot of stuff. So
right, this person has 20 years experience.
Right.
Doing this, and we have about a month.
Exactly. It's the same thing with the attorneys. You reach out to the attorneys. All you got to do is make one good connection like that, and it can turn into a nice stream of steady referrals. So thank you for your good words, and congratulations. Any other questions?
One more question. I guess when you first start the calls, I know like we just saw the outbound probate script. Generally, do you approach them that you have an investor first, or is that like the best? What are other options or ways you approach them in terms of?
Well, you the letter mentions the multiple options, And sometime during the phone conversation, I would get into that also. But the most important thing is you need to ask them questions.
Sure.
You know, are you the only heir? Are you the decision maker? Is there real estate involved? Where is it located? Do you want to sell it? Mm-hmm. And then once you get positive answers, I would, as much as possible, lady, one of the things that I understand this is a difficult time for the family, and it's one of the reasons I decided to specialize in helping people, that inherited property, and I put this whole team of people together to help you. And then go through the four elements of your team. Let them know everybody who's available. I certainly would. I wouldn't lead with that. You want to lead with finding out what their needs are. But then once you determine that they have a need, they have some real estate, and they do want to sell it, I would absolutely try to get in, mention your entire team and all the options that you can offer them.
Sure.
Okay?
Okay.
All right, awesome. Thank you very much. We'll go on to the next caller. The next questioner, area code 847, you're up.
Hi, this is Felicia in the Chicago area. Just had a quick question. You mentioned that you're going to bring on your Dialing for Dollars programs. You're going to bring that on at some point. Is that different from the Voice Logic we're using now, or is that just going to replace it, or what?
Right now, it would be that we would be doing it for you as opposed to you doing it. So this would be for people who simply don't want to do any of it, and certainly Voice Logic will do everything that you need to do. And in fact, one of the things that we are doing now with Voice Logic is working out to be able to do this programmatically, so that literally it works online. You can record it directly and do it all under program control. So ultimately, you'll be able to do that and do Voice Logic as a la carte through our system. But for now, it's what we would do for you. So if you're doing it right now, keep on doing what you're doing. This is not for you yet until we make it automatic. Then it'll be simply easier for you to do it, because it'll automatically push the phone numbers and do the things that you need to do going forward. But we are working directly with Voice Logic to make this work.
Oh, okay. So it's basically going to be the same thing. I won't have to upload my numbers. You guys can.
Yeah, that's the plan.
I see. Okay. Perfect.
Hey, fortunately, guys, thanks to you, the power of the numbers that we have here, we can go back to our vendors and say, hey, we need to. That's the one. Voice Logic is phenomenal at deliveries, but it's cumbersome to place the order. And Tim has been talking to him for a couple weeks now, and basically negotiating with him. If you want us to keep recommending you and sending you the business we're sending, you're going to have to improve this aspect for our users. And we want them to improve it to the point where you don't have to do anything. We can just do it for you. And I think we'll get there. I think we'll get there sooner rather than later.
Okay, because I did do a voice drop, I believe it was last week. Now, I also included my own number, and I included my sister's number, because I wanted to see what it sounded like, what time it went out, and so forth. And we did not get a call, so I'm not sure if there was a glitch in the system. So I'm hoping all the calls went out. I did get one call back from someone, and they said, you just called from this number. And I'm like, no. And then I remembered, oh, okay, yeah. So I'm hoping that all of them went out, or, so I'm guessing it's working. I'm just not sure why my sister and I didn't get a call, but I'm sure some or maybe most of the calls.
The number you gave them, was it a landline or a cell number?
It was a mobile number.
Okay. And you have voicemail, obviously, on the mobile phones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can give you some thought about that. I mean, part of it is that they take one whack at doing it, and if the voicemail for the way that system works to deliver to voicemails for cell phones is that they check your number, the number that you give them, they check your list, and they determine from that list which of those has a big number, like 800 number for argument's sake, that you can dial into and enter the actual phone number and then leave a voicemail for that. That's how they're getting around making that phone ring. They call the number, for example, if you have an AT&T phone, they would call AT&T's main number for leaving voicemails, and when you do that, it says, please enter the 10-digit number you're trying to reach. That they enter automatically under program control, and then it automatically goes directly to the recording. So if they don't see that instantly when that call is attempting to be made, or when they call it for whatever reason the number is busy, that counts as a no, and they don't go forward from there. They take one shot at it and they don't go. So there are problems with all of these. There's no exact accurate system. It's a numbers game. You try to do the best you can.
I see.
Okay.
Thank
Good?
you.
Any other questions?
No, thank you.
Yeah, we got a good line. We got 3 more questions in the queue, so let me jump on to the next one. Area code 206, you are up.
Hello, my name is Aaron. I live in the greater Seattle area. My team and I work for my owner, Rich Lucas, and we're fairly new to the probates. He just signed up, I believe, a month ago, but we haven't been able to start training on it just because we've been revamping our team, adding a lot of people, and growing. My specific task on the team is I lead generate 24/7 for them, and we're starting to do this probate thing. So I guess the number of my questions are, one, and this may sound silly, but he just hasn't given me the resources I need, so I'm looking for where do I go for all the training that we're paying for, as well as where I can look up some good scripts, and then kind of just go through all my own training so I can take advantage of those as well as these mastermind meetings.
Great question and an easy one. Tim, you want to answer it or should I?
I want you to answer one for a change.
All right. Go to the website, enter your email, log in with your team. Your broker should have a login code. The very far right hand of the menu, there's a button that says Subscriber Resources. The very first thing you should do, there is a 5-step action plan, and there are 5 fast-track videos. And Chad did a remarkable job of it. There's 5 6 to 8 minute videos, so there's about 45 minutes worth of material. And after each video, there's a little question and answer to make sure you absorbed it. If you didn't, it'll give you the right answers. He really did a nice job of making sure that the basic training, that's kind of our boot camp, that the basic training is all covered there. And then you can drill down. If you drill down the page, there's a lot more stuff there, but everybody should start with those 5 fast-track videos. It's going to answer 95% of your questions.
Great. And another thing, I don't know if other people are using this or if this is pretty similar to Voice Logic, but my owner has also used in the past for other different things, like when we've called on expireds and other different types of leads. He uses something that's like Fly Broadcast, and
Yep.
what it does is that similar to your Voice Logic?
Very similar. We use Fly Broadcast also.
You use, okay. So if under Voice Logic, is that one that's already comes with the membership versus him having to?
Well, no, these are all add-ons services that we've affiliated. Well, they're companies that we have affiliated with. On the subscriber resources page of our website, there are links to both Call Loop and Fly Broadcast. And if you use those links to sign up, they give you a fairly good amount of additional free credit. It's like a bonus of going through our company. But
great. Okay.
They're both very similar to. Without getting into a lot of detail, the advantage of Call Loop is it
Not
will play.
Not Call Loop.
I was going to say Call Loop will play the message. If they answer, it'll give you that option, or it'll go to their voicemail. Fly Broadcast only goes to their voicemail, and the one out of Canada, what's it called? Call Logic.
Voice Logic.
Voice Logic just has it's very similar to Fly Broadcast, but we believe it has a little bit higher deliverability rate, but it's a little harder to schedule the calls. So we're trying to combine the technology of Fly Broadcast with better deliverability. But Fly Broadcast and Call and Voice Logic are very similar. There's not a huge difference. If you're using Fly, that's fine. Did that answer your question?
Yes, it did. And this may sound silly too. You said the website. Now, I guess I could ask my team owner, but just so I can get started on this, what's the website's name again?
Alltheleads.com.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you so much. That's all I needed.
Oh, you're very welcome. This is the most questions we've ever had. Let me move to the next one. Area code 805, you are up.
Hello, Jim. I talked to you just a couple of days ago. My name is Jim, also Jim Malloy in California.
Yes, sir.
Are there other areas you're going to be getting into? I know you said that. I know that you talked about the divorce thing, but was there something else beyond that you were expanding into?
Foreclosure. The next one behind divorce is probably going to be foreclosure. That's the next one that we already have people out doing research on. Is that? Do you have a particular target that you're looking for?
No, I was just wondering because probate sounds interesting. I'm not particularly interested in divorce, but foreclosure I would be.
Okay.
So I was just wondering how you're going to do this. Is this going to be sort of all going together, or you can just pick your group, or are you going to charge more for different groups?
When we started the program and put our heads together to do this, two things we decided to do. One was to go out and try to get, and literally we named the company All the Leads, because it's our intention to find as many niches as we can that are unique and kind of important to get to, and we can provide a focused trained approach in terms of going out to get it. So right now, that's kind of why we're sitting on starting with probate, moving to divorce, going to foreclosure. Those are pretty tight niches. They're very well defined. The value of divorce, obviously, is that in most cases, at least one of those people that's in that property is going to be relocating. So the value there is not only in potentially a house getting sold, but there's always a relocation of some sort coming down, or it may have happened, it may not have happened yet. You never know what the circumstances are. But that's why we're doing divorce. As the market matures and goes forward and we determine, what our cost of acquisition is to do this, in some cases it's going to be more to get the divorce in a particular market than it is to do some of the stuff we're doing now, and some it's less. It just depends on the market. So the pricing will be determined just as it is today on the probate. We'll determine it based on the difficulty of acquiring the data and what the market size looks like and all of that sort of stuff. It will be a separate group. You can either get them all together, you can get them all, you can get them separately or buy them a la carte. And we may put some packages together to, reward people who are buying more in volume, because that's the way business works. But right now, we're just trying to get some initial market sample out for divorce. And not only that, we want to do some effectiveness testing. We want to make sure that while we can get them, there's good value in it as well, and that we can offer a good approach in terms of going out after it. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, that does. It probably answered a couple questions I didn't have, too.
I was just going to share with you one thing that we have pretty much determined. In virtually every county, there are significantly more divorces than probates. I shared that with an agent one time, and he said, well, of course, you can only die once, which I thought was pretty astute. We all know people that have gotten divorced multiple times. The nice thing with the divorce, like Tim said, one person is always going to have to move. Sometimes two people are going to move. Sometimes it's one listing and two buyer sales. So there's a lot of different combinations where you can generate business. But yeah, that'll be next. And yeah, and if you guys have any ideas on things that you would like to add, just let us know.
Is there a way to look on your website at some of your training videos before signing up, or looking more further into it before signing up? Because I looked at resources and it asked for my sign-in, but I didn't sign up with you guys yet.
Well, that's kind of the whole premise of having a system that you sell. We're trying to sell it as a system, and that's the reason for it. We spend a lot of time and lots of money.
No, that's okay. I just didn't know. That's fine.
And we can't give everything away. We have to make money to stay in business.
Guys, we have 3 more minutes, and we've got 2 questions, so I'm going to get to the last 2 questions real quickly. Thank you so much for the participation today. Area code 916, California, you're up.
Hello?
Yes, sir. You're up.
Oh, my name's Dan Wakabayashi.
Hey,
we talked yesterday.
Yeah, Dan,
hi. And I'm, again, new to the service, and I'm just listening to everything here. I like the idea of the divorce leads, which is promising, but also I look at the trust proceedings. I don't know if you've been in California. They have, the letters of administration for probate and everything else, but there's also trust proceedings that are in there, and it makes up maybe 10%. Are you guys looking into that also, or is that because I'm seeing more and more people are moving away from probate because probate is afterwards, but more and more people are setting up the trust beforehand. So,
have you done yourself any digging into some of the trust proceedings to see if there is?
Yeah, I have a little bit. Just touched on it, only because I've been down to the courthouse and I understand what we're looking for a little bit. But I usually have someone do that for me.
Yeah.
And so
I'm sorry. Go ahead, bud.
And that's why I was asking if you guys were going to be taking on that proceeding. I don't want to go down there. I don't have time to do all of this. But
I understand. We had not, and I think part of the rationale for that was that it represents a much smaller market sample or market size than pulling all of probate. However,
I agree. Like I said, it's only going to be another 10% or so.
Well, but even so, if it's something that is readily available, I would ask. You got a bunch of people on this call, so again, if you're in a market where you think pursuing trust might be of value, we have researchers in the courthouses, so we're going to be guided by what you're looking for, and if we can get enough of a sample of people who say, yeah, that's something I'm interested in taking a look at, we'll certainly take a look at it as well, and at least be able to better answer your question. So we'll count you as the alpha victim on that list. But more importantly, if others of you have interest in that, please drop an email to jim@alltheleads.com and let him know that you'd be interested in us looking into that as well.
Dan, I was going to say we'll trust you to get started.
Oh,
yeah.
Disgusting.
Guys, yeah, sorry about that. We'll end with the pun. Guys, we're going to run about 2 minutes over on this call. We've got one more question, and I want to honor everybody who got in the queue. So thank you for your patience. Last questioner of the day. You are up, area code 210.
Hi, this is Ron calling from San Antonio. I talked to you a couple of months ago.
Hey, Ron.
Been thinking about this service again. I have two quick questions.
Sure.
One is your software Mac compatible?
Tim, did you hear that?
I heard him say, is it something compatible?
Is it compatible with Macintosh?
Oh yeah, it's web based. It's all web based. It's the browser.
Okay. And then the other question I have is, quite frankly, you guys aren't the only ones out there working on this probate idea. What makes you better than your competitors?
We're far more attractive. We're much better looking. You've never seen.
Well, that does it right. That does it right there.
I think I'll give you my answer, and then Jim, you can chime in if you want. But here's the difference in terms of what we're doing. Every time, if this is your first call, you may not know this, but I'd urge you to, if you do sign up and become a customer, to go back and listen to all the ones that are have gone down before this. We approach this in a different way. There are certainly people out there who are gathering leads. We know who the people are who are in this business. It's the reason that we decided to go into it. We believe that the data that we get is far more accurate. We also go to the almost ends of the earth to provide you with the best possible ability to contact that personal representative. It's where we focus our time. We use 2 additional service groups to go out and just get phone numbers and reference phone numbers. We not only try to get the individual phone number for the PR, but we try to get friends, family, anybody that might know this person, so that we do give you the ability to reach out and touch them. We stand by the accuracy of our information. Our customer service is good, and we just bend over backwards to make it work. But more importantly, I think what sets us apart is the fact that we look at this as a system, not as just selling you leads. We are trying to automate the whole process. We also try and train you to get the right information in your hands and use it correctly so that you can deploy it successfully and implement the program. And I can tell you the thing that frustrates us the most with any customer is that we know that people sign up for this and don't use leads. And so what we do we have an outbound program. I doubt that you'll find this anywhere else. We have an outbound program where we literally contact our customers by phone every month to make sure they're on track. If they're not, we get on them and we try to make sure that we find out why, because number one, it's good for our business. We don't want to lose subscribers, but certainly, typically somebody just needs a little help getting over a hump. So there's nothing we won't do to try to make you be successful. And if that's not enough, and if somebody else is doing it better than that, then that's who you ought to go with. But I can assure you, you're not going to find anybody that does it better.
I could not improve on that answer except to say we are the only company doing this on a national basis. There's little regional pockets of companies that do it, but nobody does it bigger or better than us. So that's my humble answer. And boy, great call today, guys. Thank you. We're about 5 minutes over, so thank you so much for your patience. I always end these calls by saying, take something you learned today, take an idea, take some inspiration that the people that asked questions gave you, and go out and make something happen this week. Come back next Thursday and share your success story with us. Thank you so much, guys. Make it a great week.